We'll call this meeting to order. Welcome, everybody. Glad to see everybody here this evening. We'll begin the evening with public comment. I don't think we have anybody signed up, but is there anybody that wishes to speak during the public comment period? Okay, hearing none. Moving on to updates from council, if there are any. Any updates? One thing I'll say, Chief, well done at the basketball game. The police department, I know y'all didn't pull out the win, but very well organized. I hope to see it happen in the future. All righty, any other updates from council? All righty, moving on to the consent agenda. We have one item on there. Any questions, comments, or two items, excuse me, question, comments, or concerns related to the one item, the conditional zoning district of Fletcher?
Tyler, planning and zoning is here if you want to hear any comments on it or overview.
Yeah, let's see, we're setting a public hearing today. Do we have any questions, comments on the item beforehand? Good. All right, sounds like we're good.
Okay.
All right.
I mean, he'll give you more of an overview.
Yeah, in the future. Yeah.
Public hearing, but we had him here in case you want to hear any more.
Yeah, sure. I'll say well done on the information on that. It's very detailed. I appreciated that.
Yeah, I like the format.
Yeah, me too. Thank you. All righty, moving on to discussion item number 5, the discussion and review of applicants to select the individual to fill the at-large vacancy on the planning board. And we actually have, we'll now have 2 at-large vacancies. Recently, George Clayton resigned. I'm not sure if he resigned this morning. But recently, for personal reasons, and I know Tyler plans to move things around because George is District 3, correct? And I think we're moving it around so that we'll end up having somebody in that District 3 position and then have 2 at-large vacancies. Is that correct?
Yeah, it'll wind up being 2 now vacancies, yeah, when George Clayton rolls off.
2 at large. He was going to move someone that was already on the board from District 3 into that spot.
Okay.
So that, because it's easier to find at large than it is trying to find someone in a designated district. That way it worked out.
Is there years going to be kind of, I know George had some years ahead, like they
George, if
staggered
I'm
them.
not mistaken, was just reappointed
Yeah.
this year. So that person would fill his
Spot.
term and then
Okay.
apply again. The other one's term that put in expired in either this month or next month. So they would both be put into their spot next month.
Okay, so we'll be appointing 2 folk this month?
Yeah,
I
at
know.
large. And
2 at
moving
large.
George to District 3.
Moving George,
I mean,
the board member.
the board member that's currently in there to
Yes, we'll
District
go to
3.
District 3. So it'll
Yep.
be 2 at-large members.
It's
You'll need to vote for.
The at-large one
Okay.
to District 3, correct, yeah.
Perfect, thank you. And so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 candidates, I believe. I'm not sure that everybody's here. I think we have 3 of them here. And so I know we've met a couple of you before, but just to give everybody an opportunity to speak, if you want to come up and briefly introduce yourself, tell us why you want to serve, and anything else you think we might want to know. Just be really conscious of time. Just try to keep it around 3-5 minutes. And then council will have the ability, the opportunity to ask you questions, give you feedback, and comments, questions, concerns if they have any. Council, y'all have any questions? Y'all good to go? And so we will go in the order of the people in our packets. I don't think Philip Jones is here. And so then we will start with Julia Fogel. I think she'll be the next person in our packet. So Ms. Fogel, if you want to just take the podium, and again, just 3 to 5 minutes, and tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want to serve.
Nice to see you all. I'm just going to switch out my glasses. So
Glad you're here.
but I wrote a little something. So, good evening, Fletcher Town Council members. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come before you all today. My name is Julia Fogel. For those that haven't met, nice to see you all. Hi. I'm here today to express my interest in serving on the Town of Fletcher Planning and Zoning Board. To give you a little history about me, I am a native to the area. I grew up right here in Fletcher. My connection to the area goes even further, as my mother and father's family have deep historical connections here. I have continued this family tradition by raising my own family here with my husband, Jacques Fogel. Our 2 sons have grown up in Fletcher, and while they are currently pursuing higher education and careers in other cities, we have hopes that they will one day return and reside in Fletcher. It's such an exciting time in Fletcher, as we all know. It has become an immensely popular place to live and to work, and I would love to be a part of its continued growth and development. I did give you some information about me, but concerning my career path, I currently assist in managing several family businesses in Fletcher, giving me practical on-the-ground experience with local commercial property and operations. I assist in office management for my husband's financial services business. I manage Arden Fletcher Self-Storage for my mother, Nancy Price, and I also oversee and manage a small RV park and Airbnb cottage on our property. Since my family and I are very much immersed within Fletcher as business owners and homeowners, it is our hope that Fletcher continues along a positive developmental path for all of its citizens. I would love to be a part of that journey by becoming a dedicated member of the Town of Fletcher Planning and Zoning Board. Thank you for your time and consideration. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your evening. And if you have any questions, please feel free to give me.
What questions do we have?
Go ahead.
I'll ask mine that I always
Okay,
ask.
sure.
Because we've done this
Put my
enough
glasses
in the
on, so I
planning
can
board
see you
here.
now.
Driving down 25,
Yes.
looking at it as it is now, what do you think is missing or what would you like to see?
I mean, I feel like, right now, it feels like very much of a thoroughfare. Like, I know that the highway department likes it to be moving of traffic, but I would love to have more sense of a community. I mean, it'd be nice if it was a bit more walkable. I mean, I do live right on 25, and I don't feel right now very comfortable walking down the sidewalks. I don't think that's feasible, but with here, I mean, we have such a wonderful park. I think it would be nice to have something that would bring even more people to the area, to be able to, once they go to the park, have an area where they can enjoy meeting people, and I mean, that's what I would hope, to have more of a downtown community if possible.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
The question I usually ask, it really, doesn't really apply. I've been here for 49 and a half years. Go ahead.
Sounds like not then. Everybody good? That sounds
Okay,
good.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I
Thank you
appreciate
very much.
All righty. Mr. Jacob Comper, the floor is yours, sir. Good to see you again.
It's great to see you guys. Thank you for having me out this evening, council. Really appreciate it. As I have been here before, I just would like to express my interest in being a planning board member as a professional planner. I've been a planner in Henderson County, Buncombe County. I'm currently serving as a regional planner for Land of Sky with a focus on housing, but they've just contracted me out to be the interim planning director for Transylvania County, so that's been fun, getting a nice planning scoop of our whole region here. I'd like to use this expertise to help Fletcher the best I can. I know Tyler's doing a great job already. It's kicking it off, so congrats to him for that. I just want to serve Fletcher the best I can. I think my expertise in planning, being certified floodplain manager, zoning official, will help, and I think this vacancy on the board can help promote Fletcher to better places. I know we're already on the right track, but I think we got some great headway to make.
Wonderful. What questions do we have? Any?
Well, I got a quick, how many years you lived in Fletcher? I didn't see your application.
Since 2020.
2020.
I moved here, I'm originally from the Outer Banks, and I came here, I said this probably last time, like, I lived in Charlotte, lived in Boone, I love this area because it's a good mix of both. Charlotte's a little too much, Boone's like a little too much of nothing, and this is a great mix of getting the mountains and a little bit of urban area here. But I moved here, I was in Hendersonville, came to work for them in 2018, and I moved with my wife in Wildwood Gardens in 2020. We've been there ever since.
So the question, let's spin off that real quick, I have is, and you probably remember it from last time, I think I might have asked you, I couldn't remember, where you come from, Charlotte and also Outer Banks. What's one of the things, or even a couple of things, that you did not like there, and the reason why you left there to come here, that you would not want that to come here to the town of Fletcher? Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely so. I mean, on the Outer Banks, I think it's a love-hate relationship there. That's why I left there, because if you're a local there, you know, you're stuck on a sandbar. It's a shipping, and you can see the houses that are actually falling in there. Like, it's great, definitely love it, but I think it's you can't keep fighting Mother Nature. So I'd like to see them sort of, I wouldn't say relinquish it, give up the fight, but just understand where development has gone wrong, and that, you know, a little bit of overdevelopment there is causing houses to fall in the ocean. In Charlotte, they're doing a good job of like managing their growth. I mean, it's sprawling everywhere, but to me, that's a little too much development, if that makes sense. Boone, not much going on, and that's why I think here we're in a really good spot, because the area is still growing, and we can have, I wouldn't say plenty of land, but a lot of areas or opportunities to grow effectively and not get them overdeveloped, but also still have that sense of a small-town community.
Thank you.
And I don't have your answer from the last time, so I'll follow up with the one I asked Julia. Coming down the corridor on 25, what would you like to see added, or is there something here you don't like, or?
I think Julie made a good spot about community. What I think I said last time too, and something that I struggle with, and I still appreciate the fact that it's our library. The library there is really awesome. It's good, but it could definitely use a facelift compared to other facilities. And if you kind of improve that area, that's also can also act as a great community center as well. I mean, the park is pretty awesome, but I think the library, sort of renovating that and improving it upon, more accessible location, become a community center, even, like a job sort of center as well too. I think that's a big improvement that I'd like to see, is just that.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Well, you apparently have a lot going on, especially in the zone and planning world. You don't see, being on this position, that it would be hard to make the meetings, or you're good with?
No, I'd actually look forward to being on this board, to actually use my skills where I can. Transylvania's, right now, there's not much planning that goes on. It's more trans-related, so in the meetings they do have are in the middle of the day. They're at like noon and 4 o'clock. So anything coming to this meeting, I think it's the third Thursday, is that right? Yeah, that wouldn't be. Tuesday wouldn't be a problem at all. I actually look forward to actually doing some planning and development in my own community. It'd be great.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jacob.
Thank you, really appreciate it, council.
All righty, and Mr. Michael Tancredi. Thank you for being here this evening.
I appreciate the time. My name is Michael Tancredi. I live here in Fletcher, in the heart of Fletcher, with my wife and my 2 dogs. I moved here in 2023 from Arden, where I only lived for about 2 years. Before that, I lived in New Jersey, which is where I'm originally from. Professionally, I've been working in architecture, development, and planning for the past 15 years. I work for a company called BSB Design that's based out of Charlotte, but we do projects all over the country. I speak to that because it talks to my experience in educational typology, schools, single-family, multifamily, community overlays from a design, development, and planning standpoint. So I have a lot of experience day-to-day, deep in the code books, both municipal and city and state, talking with town councils, mayors, communities, people, teachers, whatever the type of project is, understanding what the people want, and helping them understand the variables in the code, the constraints, and find the win-win for everybody. So that's kind of one thing I think that I would bring to the board, is a pragmatic, solution-oriented win-win approach to kind of meeting everyone's goals, the city, the community, et cetera. Personally, just got married this year, plan on having kids in the future.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I really love Fletcher, and I know it sounds really hokey, but the one thing I've been thinking about since, putting in my application is the town slogan. I don't have a lot of understanding of the past here because I am new here, but from talking to the people that I meet and being here for the 3 years that I've been here, 2 years I've been here, there's so much respect and appreciation for the past year, the way things were set up, the way things were done, the old heritage businesses. So I think for me, one thing that I would bring to the board is a faith in our future, but also tremendous pride in the past that's been set up, and just a strong understanding. And I'll answer your question before you ask it, Jim. Okay. That Heart of Fletcher overlay plan is the reason why I bought a house here, essentially. Okay. Not because I wanted it to happen and I'm going to sell in 20 years, but because that's the type of connectivity, the type of community engagement, the connecting people to parks, to places, and all of that stuff that will make this town even better. And I look forward to one day, walking my kid down to the Fletcher Park where I walk my 2 dogs over to the school. Traffic's a little slower, things are a little bit more alive. Yeah. And so that's the Fletcher that I see. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you so much.
Wonderful.
A question real quick. I know you say you're from New Jersey, right?
Yes, sir.
So, same kind of question. We talked about Jacob over there. Living in New Jersey, what's one thing you did not like about New Jersey you don't want to ever see it happen here?
Yeah, I think that in New Jersey, this is a weird way to answer your question. I don't remember what it was like when I was 2 years old, but I have a feeling it was all farmland that was undeveloped and kind of felt like WNC. As crazy as that sounds. A lot more meatballs and garlic over in New Jersey, but, you know, it kind of felt like WNC. And so what I would want to see is more responsible development. I don't know where or when these projects happen, but when I see a 30-foot retaining wall, I say to myself, that's God telling you the project shouldn't be there. That's the slope telling you a project shouldn't be there. So it's those types of things when we go against our common sense best nature, what we all know and feel in our heart and our mind's eye of what's the right development project for this site or whatever the case is, kind of sticking to that truth and not bending or, you know, or kind of going against our plan, whether it's a zoning plan or an overlay, and not deviating from that, whether it's this reason or that reason. So I saw New Jersey do that in a lot of upper politics, kind of weird ways, backroom dealings with large sites that got sold before someone knew that there was going to be a train station here, blah, blah, blah. So those types of things took the opportunities away from developers who wanted to do maybe the right multifamily project where it's supposed to be, instead of the affordable farmland that they got for cheap because it's not supposed to be a 700-unit project. So it's those types of things that, with the foresight, the confidence in the planning and zoning language, and like a cohesive spirit between town council, planning board, and community, that type of approach versus just a free-for-all, which other folks have spoke to create that vision. When you see a development or a town that has a vision and has been developed with the design, you're like, wow, I see it. I see everything making sense. So it's just a little bit more of putting the pieces together in the puzzle the way they're supposed to be done, not just a free-for-all. So that's how I would answer your question.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Wonderful. Do we have any other questions, comments? Sounds good, thank you.
so much.
Thank you.
All righty, and for next week, we'll make the appointment, and again, there's not just one position available now, there's two at-large positions, so we'll be filling both of those next week. So if you want to come back next week, we'll make that appointment, and we appreciate each and every one of you applying, your interest in the town. Anything else from council? All righty. Moving on, next week, we'll have a presentation from Fletcher Youth Baseball, so we'll look forward to that. Item number 7, we have the donation of surplus property to the Henderson County Sheriff's Office with the resolution. I see Chief here, and we appreciate you being here, Chief.
Thank you. Pleasure to see everybody. Basically, I just made a proposal, a recommendation. We have a motorcycle that's been sitting unused for several years. So basically, I made the proposal that we donate that to the Sheriff's Office. I'm guessing you have in front of you, a proposal in front of you, for various reasons. The last 2 years, we've tried to get an individual class, and promising might be a little strong of a word that we were promised, but there were several classes that were supposed to be hosted that we were going to be able to attend for free. Not that anybody owes us anything, they do not, but we just were fortunate enough that there was going to be this class, motorcycle class, that we could send somebody to for free. And so we had somebody picked out, and then that class got canceled, and then there'd be another one that we were set up for, and that got canceled. So this has really dragged on for about the last 2 years at least. And what we've come to find is there's not going to be a free class for us, and so we would have to invest significant dollars in sending somebody off to the training. And that class in and of itself was about $5,000, and then the equipment needed, uniforms, helmet, boots, those type of things, that'd be probably another $5,000. And looking at our staffing and who we have and who would be best suited for the motorcycle, who would be interested in the motorcycle, we've just come to learn that probably identifying someone to ride that motorcycle and send them off to training and such is probably not feasible at this moment. And it's just sitting there, rotting, not getting used. And the Henderson County Sheriff's Office has done a lot for us. We work very well with them, and they're kind of the big dog in the yard. I always call them the big dog, and we're kind of the small dog, and so they help us in lots of ways, and we support and help them as well. And when there's a need that we can fill, we fill that need. We have a very good relationship with them. But there's a lot of things that they do for us that comes at a cost that we don't pay. And so the fact that we have this motorcycle sitting there, they got an active motor unit. They recently donated a truck to us that we use for our animal control now, much better than what we were using. That was, the value of that truck when we got it was a little over $12,000. The value of our motorcycle is a little over $14,000. And there's a lot more they do for us. They do our phone searches, what we call phone dumps. They have technology that can, get into your phones and find all the things you thought were gone but are still there. And we probably do 10 or 20 of those a year for us. So there's no cost for that. They take some of our evidence, our pills that we collect from the community, they destroy those, and there's no cost for that. So they do a lot for us. We find that, we don't have a SWAT team, so if we're involved in a significant incident and we need them, they come out and do that for us. So it just seemed like the right thing to do. It'd be a good gesture. They have an active motor unit, and so they will put it to use, where we won't put it to use anytime soon. I mean, we can sit on it, but it'll probably be 2, 3, it could be a long time before we found anybody. It just didn't make sense to me that we sit on a good piece of property that can be wisely used and be a good gesture for them. And so my recommendation is we just set it up so we can donate that to the sheriff's office, and I think that'll serve us very well in the long run with our relationship.
I mean, this all seems appropriate. I mean, if council's okay with that, I suggest just moving this to the consent agenda for next week. Yeah.
And we have to do it by resolution, so there's a resolution in the packet making it official.
Yeah, that's
Any
awesome.
questions?
Sounds appropriate, yeah, we'll move to the consent agenda and get it passed.
Thank
you, Chief.
Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
All righty, moving on to item number 8, the presentation of the plan for the extension of the Cane Creek Greenway. We got Mr. Ben Cathy here this evening. Thank you for being here, sir. For the second time, I think, maybe presenting this.
Yep. And we don't have it queued up electronically. I think you all were comfortable, and I
Yeah.
talked to
Yeah, we're good.
Jim and the mayor here beforehand, but you have in your packet again the map that Ben went over last time that shows the master plan that McGill prepared. You've got the cost estimate of each section, and then a letter with a recommendation of sections 3 and 4, and section 1 is a bid alternate.
Yes, I guess, are there any questions? Do we need to review any pieces of that specifically, or?
And again, just remind me, we kind of tabled this because
Right.
Two
Jim and
people
Mayor
out
were
there.
not here last month, so,
Just our respect for both of them, yeah.
yeah.
I'm not sure we have particular questions. Perhaps you could just go through it for
Go
the
through it.
benefit of us and I guess the public as well.
Cool. We looked at this whole stretch. The goal is we don't believe we have the funds to go all the way from the park to the interstate at the time, obviously, but this first step in this project was to try to determine what that path was going to be, so that if, for the grants and the funds that we do have, we want to spend them wisely to connect to where an overall plan they would fit with an overall plan. We don't want to do something, have to redo and move. So this first step was looking at the master plan and the route that would take from the park to the interstate. So, or actually, I guess, to the west side of the interstate. We broke that into logical sections that and those are outlined on sheet 1 with 1 through 6 being all those sections. And those are broken up into what logical projects would be. 1 being from the park through the Fernleaf property to the railroad, 2 just being the crossings underneath the railroad and Highway 25. Then section 3 would be from Highway 25 over to the town's parcel and including a new parking lot that's just off of Rockwell Drive. Section 4 would create a loop off of section 3 just to give more walkable length and, parallel the creek for a portion there. 5 would be along Rockwell Drive and through Rockwell's property, close to the interstate. And then section 6 would be a very difficult section that crossed Cane Creek and went under the interstate. And to refer back to, after we looked at those sections and did estimates for each section, we arrived at the recommendation which fits the town's budget to do section 3 and 4 right now, because that actually, you would technically have connectivity to those from the park through the black dashed path. Back, we mentioned how it's 25 is not great for walking right now. I'm not saying that is a great path, but connectivity does exist. And the provision of the new parking lot would allow that probably to be used just separately. If people wanted to take a little bit more remote walk, they could go park off Rockwell Drive, take the loop or whatever they would choose on that section. And then adding section 1 as an alternate, if we get good pricing and we can fit that in the budget, we can do that. And if not, we would not do that at this time.
I'm sorry, go ahead. Quick question on section 3 right there, and I kind of talked to Mark about this, I can't remember when we talked to each other, I can't remember, Mark.
Yeah,
But,
it was last week.
It was last week sometime. In the parking area, how hard, or how much the estimated cost would be to put like power, enough where you could put a camera there for security, if somebody goes in parks and they're vandalizing vehicles or whatever, it'd be nice to have, I know we got a camera here at the park that captures people coming in and out.
We put some money in the budget
Yeah.
for something like that. We're just at a conceptual phase right now. So we
okay.
don't have that design, but we did plan for a little
For
bit of
that.
money to have a camera over there.
Okay.
Due to that being a little bit remote, we thought that would be a wise addition to that.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Ben.
You have any questions?
That was my question,
Okay.
just from a security standpoint. Because this is so far removed from the general park where most of the staff are and most of the eyes are, then you lose sight of folks out around this field that just, I'm always, that's the retired cop in me wanting to make sure we're making sure we're doing our due diligence to keep people safe and at least give them a means to communicate or be seen if something were to happen.
Now, and we didn't, the money we put in there would just cover this parking area. We don't have enough in there right now to cover the whole trail.
Right. But it's something we could add in the future
Yes.
if we so chose to.
We could have power and an area light and something down there to just see who's coming and going.
Right.
I'm thinking as operation, as like operational rules, I know it gets a little tough to enforce when you get a little bit separated or remote somewhat from the main portion of the park, but having rules about not riding after dusk, similar to our park being closed at dusk. Again, tougher to enforce, but yeah, there's a line item in this section 3 about parking lot lighting. I'd forgotten that. Yeah, you all had put something in there on it.
And I'd love to look at, in the future, if we choose to do this over there, some type of gating that maybe the police department could lock and unlock late at dusk and dawn, to give access, just to keep people from pulling down in there in the dark and hiding and,
I would assume, that's what I was assuming, that we would have
yeah,
a similar gate to the park. Just
yes,
so that-
something we could secure.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And we'll have Parks and Rec going down there and checking on the trail, and, the chief's gone now, but we've talked to you about the side-by-side that they got donated recently, and that can be an enforcement piece from time to time down there too, to kind of patrol and check on things.
And to y'all's point, maybe it could be helpful to have one of those, I'm not sure exactly what they're called, but sometimes you'll see them on trails or kind of remote areas.
The call box.
The call box, where we can just hit the button.
Harrisville has them along the Oklawaha, I believe.
Oh, did they?
And so-
Okay, I hadn't noticed. I've been down there once.
With the blue light, it's got like a blue light marking it, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like flashes, right? You can hit a button and it'll call law enforcement or somebody, I guess.
I know people walk with their cell phones, but sometimes
Yeah.
it's easier just to, and a deterrent, a
Yeah,
visual deterrent
yeah.
too.
Yeah, that's why I'm more so thinking it's probably a deterrent. But it would be good to have, too, if it's feasible in the future. So if I'm hearing you correctly, we want to, you're suggesting the bid out sections 3 and 4 with section 1 as an alternate if the bids come in favorably. Is that correct?
Pardon me?
That, he's suggesting the bid out sections 3 and 4.
That's correct.
And if section 1 comes back favorably,
Yeah.
to have that included as well?
Yeah, that would be put in as a bid alternate.
Okay.
And if it came back, if we got like really good bids, and we can include that in the roughly, excuse me, with design fees, it's like 900,000 that we've got, between the grants, our match obligation, and then
Sure.
the 100,000 that we've got in CIP that's designated for design on this for the current fiscal year.
What was our total on the grants? that we have
Just shy
available?
of 400,000.
Okay, that's what I thought.
And we have to match them dollar for dollar,
Yeah,
so
that's
that pumps it up to 800,000. And then we have 100,000 in CIP that's currently appropriated as a project this
Okay.
year.
Well, with that being said, I mean, this all feels appropriate to me. Do we have any other questions, comments? Is everybody comfortable?
And this final comment, we'll have to abide by the grant guidelines, and just, again, as a reminder, that these would be soft trails, not paved. But they're going to, McGill's going to design them, Ben and his team, to have as appropriate amount of base as possible there to support. We'd like to go back and pave these one day, once we get a larger source of funding to do that.
Good with that.
Sounds good. All righty. Any other questions or comments before I move on? All righty, and Ben, you again, we're going to be talking about the proposed street resurfacing projects for 2026.
I believe y'all have a copy of the estimate, right?
Yeah, you should on the dais have a copy on the
In front of you,
receipt.
it's separate.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, that's
So we targeted 3 streets, Stafford Court, Meadow Pathway Drive, and Meadow Walk Court. Actually, Meadow Pathway Drive had a little bit more than maybe our typical on required patching and so forth. So we looked at a little bit more holistic approach, but the bottom line is that one's going to be a little more expensive than we'd hoped. So to try to aim for the budget number that Mark had given us in the low 2s, 225 range, I think we need to potentially drop Stafford Court. Or there's one bad spot on Stafford Court where the top layer of asphalt is just sheared away, and there's some gaps in it. And speaking with Jabbo, he has a way to get someone just to patch that one spot, and then us delay the full-blown repair on Stafford Court and just do Meadow Pathway Drive, Meadow Walk Court, which are both the Livingston Farms. They're connected, be one mobilization, more efficient, and that would more closely match the budget. Like we just discussed, we've done this before where we would do a section as an alternate, but I just don't believe that as large as Stafford Court is, I don't think we could get there. I think we'd be wasting our time to do that one as an alternate.
Or our only other option would be going to reserves if the bids came in as high as we thought they would. And I don't know if you want to necessarily touch reserves this year for that, which are really not that high. They're a little over 400,000 in Powell bill reserves. And the contractor so our Public Works Director, Jabbo's got a contractor that used from time to time to do like patch jobs. And we've had some that have some substance that it just makes more sense to go and fix that than try and resurface the whole road until it's time in the resurfacing kind of prioritization list.
And Jabba was confident that we could do
that. Yeah.
And I'm assuming this will be top of list for next year.
Likely, most likely it will, because it was in now, but every year we go back and reassess all the roads, especially the ones that were up closer to the top of the list, just to see if something else might be in worse shape that's close to that, or likely could be Stafford Court back again next year on one of the streets. And the other 2 are out in Livingston Farms, if you don't know.
Yeah, I know they've had some issues over there.
Yeah.
Storm didn't help those.
Yeah,
No.
so that's very appropriate. I'm comfortable with that if everybody else is. Good.
Yes.
Sounds good. Thank you, Ben.
And then they'll, thanks, Ken, they'll, so McGill Associates will work on the final design bid packet and go out in February, March. That would be let for bid, so we hope to have it back, I guess typically by the March meeting.
Yeah, the March meeting's when we want to be able to award it, just so that they then have it. As soon as the weather gets good,
Yeah.
they're available to start.
When do the asphalt plants typically restart for the year?
It depends. I mean, we've had some years that they'll keep one open all year.
Okay.
But it's usually March sometime.
That's what I was thinking.
And it depends, how fast does it get warm that year? But usually in April, they're usually all gone.
And we try and bid them over the winter to,
Yeah.
it's slow, and so sometimes it gets a little more
Right.
competitive than coming out for the projects.
Yeah, that seems to work.
Yeah.
Bidding in the winter seems to be better.
And to get on their books before they stop taking people.
Yeah.
They will.
Sounds good. Any other questions, comments? Thank you, Ben.
Thank you, Ben.
Thanks, Ben.
All right, moving on to item number 10, the budget process for our next fiscal year. Mr. Manager.
Okay, thank you, Mayor, Council. You've got in your packet, it's just a brief memo mentioning the process. The bigger document is the table that's in the packet that shows the timeline. And I just want to make sure these dates will work for you. And I'll just hit on the biggest ones. And I don't have it in here, and I probably should have added something, but just to let you know on the CIP process, we just had the projects come in, and the deadline was the last Wednesday, so I'll be going through those, make sure all the information's there, clarify things. I didn't have it on the agenda to go through the projects, but we'll definitely by January be presenting those, and hopefully getting to a point of a recommended list that would go in our new 5-year plan. So that'll probably be discussed in January as well. But, so the kickoff meeting is January 12th, which is your regular meeting, but we would just, we've typically kind of had a work session, so you come a little bit earlier if you can check your calendars, if we can still do this, like 4 o'clock on January the 12th. And it's just an opportunity to hear past year accomplishments from the current fiscal year, and then any big picture items from the upcoming year. So that's January 12th at 4. And then, excuse me, the other significant deadline, or date to put on your calendars would be the budget workshop, where department heads and myself kind of present the full budget requests that come in, and I'll talk a little bit more about revenues then. So that's March the 24th from 8:30 to, we put 8:30 to 3, but you typically get done a lot earlier than that. So if you can check your calendars on that for the March 24th starting at 8:30 in the morning. We'll have something like a breakfast thing at 8. And those are really the two key dates. I'm sorry, excuse me. One last one, we call it budget retreat, but it's really an all-day budget workshop, or at least through the morning, to present the recommended budget that I work on to present to you at that time. So that's May the 7th. We would start at 9. We typically have a breakfast at 8, so start at 9. So 3 dates, again, January 12th, which is our regular meeting, but start early at 4. And we also break, and we'll have like dinner, and then start back for the regular meeting at 6. And then the March 24th date for the budget workshop, and then the May 7th workshop to present the recommended budget. So if you can check on that, I'll keep this on here for next week, and see if we can get that nailed down and go from there. unless there's any questions on anything in here on the budget process timeline.
No, I mean, if everybody will just check the calendars and double check it by next week and let Mark know if there's any conflicts. Everybody good? Alrighty, sounds good. Thanks for working on that, Mark.
Thank you.
And moving on to item number 11, the revisions to grant guidelines for the stormwater off of right-of-way grant program. Mr. Manager.
Yep, thank you. So, we just started this grant program, and, as we said at the beginning, there'll probably be adjustments to the guidelines as we get going with this, and it'll need to be tweaked. And we've already come up with kind of one, so again, the process, the property owner contacts us, we do a on-site visit to see what the situation is. It's either Jabo or sometimes Ben Cathy with McGill that's out there looking at it. We may recommend, or in some cases, require that they would want to get a civil engineer involved in doing a more detailed design and sketch. And if we do that, they really should be submitting that as a next step, because the second step in the process is they then work on their application, and it then goes to that advisory panel committee internally here, but to increase their chances of getting funded, we thought we should add some language to the guidelines that more specifically states that they do that. And something might be really clear cut in the field when they do the initial on-site, some cleaning of drainage ditch swales, something minor that may not require it, or after our on-site assessment, we may suggest, based on what they're describing, that they have something a little more involved with an engineer designing that in a sketch. So I worked on just a couple language items that they're in the packet, and they're highlighted in yellow. I ran them by Ben McGill, and he had a couple things back, which I'm comfortable recommending them to you. And one was just in the guideline, like a one-page summary of what this is, adding some language that the on-site evaluation may include instead of recommendation, a requirement to hire an engineer to design any potential improvements. And that's not going to always be the case, but it may be in several of these. And the whole reason is we want to make sure that what they do has a much better chance of improving the situation. So that was one thing. And you've got the hard copy of on the dais here. In the packet was the initial revisions I worked on. And then the other one, and this is from the full application, was requiring a sketch. So I had in there about a sketch of the proposed improvements. And then I had if an engineer is involved in the design, and Bennett McGill's suggested just in every project they should probably be, or they should be submitting a sketch of the proposed improvements. So those are the revisions, and I don't know if you have any questions on that or want to discuss any of it. And we have not had anyone start anything yet. We've had the one approved, and I've had some additional communications with that property owner, and has sent another agreement out. I don't have it back yet. And then we've had a couple other people that have contacted us, and Jabo has been out to review one of the sites, and it's probably more a DOT right-of-way and drainage improvement issue. And then there's another one on Fanning Bridge Road, and I haven't heard what the kind of on-site assessment was. So it's starting to get a little more interest. So we're hoping to get, to kind of the first projects executed and done, and hopefully see some meaningful improvements for the property owners.
I'm glad to hear some interest in it.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. This all seems appropriate to me. I'm not sure if there's any questions, comments, and concerns, but if not, I would maybe suggest putting this on consent agenda as well.
I'm good with that.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you for working on that, Mark, and Ben for feedback as well. And moving on to your town manager's report.
Okay. I didn't have much there, just a couple things. And I just bring this up because this first thing, I was just checking to see if it had ever gone through with our request to the General Assembly. We had contacted a legislative delegation. I was just trying to get clarification as an update for y'all and the general public. The filing period for really a lot of elections, not just municipal, but county and other offices. We had tried to get on a bill that Hendersonville had approached our legislative delegation about to move the filing period, because we no longer have primaries with the plurality method of elections, because that really, there's no need for it. The other ones do. So we were trying to get it moved, as you know, to July of next year, which is a lot closer to the election, and if there's no need for a primary, but it didn't go through the General Assembly. We never heard a really explanation why, but, so it will be next month. So we were trying to move it from December to July, but the filing period will be in December.
Yeah, it's now.
Excuse me, December. Sorry.
Now,
I still feel like it's not
December 1st to the 19th, yeah.
Today, yeah, and it opened at actually noon today, and then runs through
The 19th.
noon on December 19th. So today at noon and open through December 19th. So just that clarification out there, and thought maybe I want to make an update now. And then the only other thing was just our Parks and Rec event coming up on this Saturday, the 6th. We've got our Christmas in the Park, and that will be from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. And so looking forward to that. Hopefully, haven't seen the latest forecast. Hopefully it's going to be decent, but we'll have, obviously, the Christmas music out there, a visit from Santa, a kid zone, a vendor market, and carriage rides. So, should be nice.
Wonderful.
So we're doing the carriage ride as opposed to the ice skating rink this year?
I
think we did it last year.
We did it last year. It was a big hit.
Yeah, but yes, and I'll get clarification. I hadn't officially heard that there was no rink, but I think it's in place of the
Yeah.
rink, yeah.
Okay.
Is that,
And that's all.
okay, any other business from council? I think Jimmy has something.
Yeah, so I talked to Tyler today. I kind of looked through going back to the bakery hearing that we're going to have coming up.
Yep.
And I just wanted to share with everybody something that I drove by the lot and I looked at it and I've looked at the map. I have some issue, heartburn, and I'd love for the developer to just kind of look at this, maybe pre-ahead, see if there's any alternates. But if you look on page 23 of the page 88 in the packet, there's an entrance and exit going out onto Cane Creek Road, but there's also one dumping traffic into East Presley Hill, into that residential neighborhood, and I have a problem with that. Just because I know other restaurants in the area that have this similar type of setup, and people will use that as it will create a dramatic cut through for people trying to get from 25 to get around Cane Creek and
Right,
Veritas and all to come in the back way.
Yep.
And I don't want to put that undue on the residents of that street in that area. So if there's anything they can do to look at this and maybe even go out the side entrance where there's not as much impact instead of out the back of the property. Looking at the building, that left side where East Presley Hill comes out into, if that's an option. But just, I rode through it today and I looked at it and I realized how narrow East Presley Hill is.
Yeah, it's not a wide road.
It's
Yeah.
not at all, and I just don't think, I think we're gonna end up with more problems than we're gonna help if we start dumping traffic into that residential area in through there, so.
Yep.
Just putting that out there.
Sure.
Tyler and I talked, and,
Yeah, and I know, I think they're aware of that already, and we'll just convey that again.
Yep. Because I agree with you 100%, Jim.
Yeah, I can, yeah, we any questions specifically.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah, okay.
yeah. And like I said, I love the idea, I love everything, as long as you're comfortable with Cane Creek Road. I know how it can be sometimes with the school, but I feel for those residents behind, and I'd like to take as much impact off of them as we can if something like this goes in that
I
spot.
understand that. We got some public comment the other night at the zoning board.
Okay.
meeting. It was similar to what, the main comments were similar to your comment right now.
Okay.
Yeah,
That was drawn in as a wish list item, I would say. I mean, I don't think it's imperative to the project. I think,
Right.
given that there was 2 road frontages, we thought we would ask for the moon or whatever and see what happened. I think it was also drawn in case of emergency or emergency vehicles to have an additional entrance exit. So again, I don't think it's essential. I think it's something that we
Okay.
thought we would ask for.
So something can be changed, you're saying? That-
I believe it can change.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, that was a concern that I had, and I talked to Tyler that last week as well, so yeah, I 100% with Jim that that other road's too small to go in and out.
Like I said, before I brought something up tonight, I wanted to go ride and look at it myself.
Yeah.
And now,
Small road.
realizing how very small that is, and you put two-way traffic through there with
It
kids.
sounds like
and-
it's already cut through.
Yeah.
You already get complaints about that road,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we can, I mean, it sounds like you would like us to rework the plans to take that out.
If that's a possibility, and it would
possibility,
work
yeah.
with your plan, that would be
Yeah.
great.
We can work on that for sure.
Okay, thank you.
And
That's valid, yeah.
we have had some requests from the public to check speeding and volume of traffic, cut through, and it kind of led from cut through traffic complaints.
Yes.
And so we ran some traffic monitoring data back there at least once, I know, in the last 5 years, so.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for bringing that up. That's a valid point. Any other discussion, council? All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
We have a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Second?
A motion and a second to adjourn. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We are adjourned.
Hey, Preston. We're doing the